So the solar full cycle is really meant to do what the term reads out to you, which is its recycling effort. The solar panel once is given birth to, and towards the end of life, EOL, it has to come back to the recycling facility and be the ground for another material. So that's the term. Then our motto at the moment is, if you are not into recycling mode, do not even bother to call solar eco-friendly. Basically, we are doing all this for this global warming. This will be a background of global warming in the context of solar full cycle. We have at this moment, right now, with grid-connected solar becoming reality till up 2008 onwards, the global temperature is going up. At this moment, we are installing solar panels at the rate of 70,000 solar panels per hour at this moment, anywhere in the world. Okay? And this will go up to now, that is 7 years. The current installed capacity in the world is solar, 900,000 megawatts. China holds 30%, Australia is some, US and European markets in Africa. So current estimates of the United Nations, Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA, is about 78 million tons of toxic waste from solar will be amassed by year 2050. That's 80 million tons of solar waste will be there. And there's a very small number of recycling facilities for solar, and actually it doesn't exist. What we see now is adapted factories like EE recycling factories in Europe, China. They are doing electrical and electronics waste handling, but they are not dedicated to solar, because solar volume is still not coming, they are still serving, and once the EOL is reached, it will give birth to the recycling waste. So at this moment also, the other thing to observe before I just do about 10 slides to you, the solar recycling regulations haven't been built uniformly around the world. In Sri Lanka to start with, I use that word, but it's literally true. Out of ignorance or otherwise, we hide behind the normal waste laws of the country when it comes to EE waste. And EE waste, with the electrical and electronics, can capture solar, but Sri Lanka's solar implementation legal side doesn't impose that we recycle. It's just like a question which is asked at the sustainability authority, how I will recycle, but that's how it is. So in the world over, Europe, except for Europe, Europeans are smart. They adapted their EE waste law called WEEE, Waste Electrical Electronics Equipment Ordinance. They adapted that and they made their solar component come inside their EE law recently. It's 2014 or so. So you can't, in Europe, do a solar panel, you can't sell a solar equipment, anything, if you do not have a recycling arrangement built onto the selling price of the panel. So solar panel seller, manufacturer, has to be responsible. If $100 a panel, he has to charge $120. That $20 should go to a fund to ensure that it will not go to dump site. If it goes to dump sites, cadmium, chromium, silicon tetrafluoride, various other things will leak into the ground, join the waterways, very harmful for us and future generations. And this is as bad as nuclear waste, although we don't think of it. Now, when electrical and electronics waste started generating after 40 years of calculators, computers, the world took off the electronic boom. Now this has resulted in the largest dump sites being created for e-waste like in Ghana. So we are now going on a journey of insulations, energy gaps, all these problems. What practice you guys are doing, I was doing, I'm in that too. We are installing, but we are not looking at the end of life thing and what happened to the electrical electronics industry and the nuclear industry. Everybody was, there's no lack of energy. everybody's talking about a nuclear plant. Only when that severity became so obvious, now there are constraints there. But all industry will start with this enthusiasm, willing to take off, the global warming, solar and other REs coming up. But we tend to forget this problem that might arise as a problem towards the future generations. So just let me walk you through quickly. I've spoken already about 4-5 minutes. I won't force you to read this, but solar full cycle is a tokenized, meaning it's based on a blockchain-based token, because we need an instrument to do this eco transaction. So it's a blockchain transaction, and all these other words are there about global warming, climate change. What it basically says, in our push to see through the global warming problem, we are creating another terrestrial problem in terms of solar, which might be only second to the global warming problem. That's when the panels are mature. So we are bringing a global presence through the solar full cycle blockchain. This is not a Sri Lanka project. It wasn't meant to be. It was actually registered in London and Canada. So the blockchain has been used to set up the SFC solar full cycle mechanism, and we have crypto investors, members who are putting money in and out, they buy and sell. From the proceeds, we fund setting up the recycling factories, buying out solar assets, pre-booking the assets, like that. So it's a movement. So I'll go through, I won't go through all this, it's just a standard corporate jargon. So the message to here is, if you come from India or anywhere else, or you have outreach to solar panel manufacturers, balance of systems, inverters, cables, other renewables, anywhere connected to the renewable energy industry or EE industry for that matter, then this is a connection point for you to us. So we are basically looking for solar and renewable energy system asset owners and users to say that what you use today might be an issue a few years later. And we are also looking at benevolent association, federations to say business is not all about selling solar panels. Business is not all about solar panels delivering the energy. Business is all about having it also recycled back to the full what we call cycle economy. So what we do is we take end-of-life solar panels and other renewable energy equipment, mainly solar. Broken equipment also results in installations, and we pick the double recycling institutions. Like in Australia, we're working with New South Wales. We have already set this up 4 months ago with a recycling solar panel company set up by a professor there, and he is outreach to the recycling facilities to allow us bring the panels there which are broken. In Zambia also we are trying to work out with the engineer there to set up this process. So basically our marriage is trying to set up a solar panel or renewable energy facility and tell him, look, in 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, you are going to inherit a load of rubbish, really. And we are going to guide you, we are going to pre-book your asset, if you like, and we will get our token investors, the crypto blockchain investors, to fund the process. So he starts paying for his salvage value from now small amounts. And by that time, just like it happening in the European Union law, by the time come the 0th day, like 20 years, 1 day for a solar panel, we go out, our agents go there, remove that solar panel assembly, entire chock-a-block, take it to a recycling facility, and then recycler will do the entire thing, break it off, and have the entire material ready. 90% is recovered, ready to make another panel. So that's what we do. So these are other services we are doing. NFT here stands for non-fungible token, just a part of this crypto token nomenclature. So this is an instrument which we have now headed towards carbon credit. So we have access to our sister company to develop investment for whoever is interested here, or your peers and your friends, that we can develop carbon credit money to enhance value or NFTs and raise the investment for that facility. We do other things too, as with the solar, this prospectus, but we have investment reach as well. These are partners, Save Planet Earth, which I said is sequestering carbon. Even if capacity rate, we are raising NFTs where people are selling, investors are willing to release even $50,000 for one equivalent of a NFT. So there is a sizable amount of NFTs in Save Planet Earth's wallet. In the crypto and blockchain terminology, it's called a wallet. You can deposit, the wallets are used, and they are watched over by thousands of investors, and everybody sees what each other takes. So it's a very secure, transparent mechanism. We can't say I'm going to build a recycling facility in Australia and take $10 million from the blockchain without all the people knowing it. It has to be disclosed and taken. So it's very secure. So these are our Sri Lankan partners who are doing some solar roof systems for us. We have also a relationship with Sakura. They are going to help us form solar full cycle brand panels in Japan and other places. Australia, Kratos Energy is our New South Wales partner, which is again identifying aging solar parks and having the owners talk to us through a MOU. So we pre-book those assets. So on the 20th and the first day later, the panels won't just lie. It's pre-booked. Our team goes and pulls it up. This is we have research activity. We marked the blue ones,
solar
blue ones, and
power
there's
plants.
red ones, and we have marked the solar farms. What are the
Recycling facilities and e-waste dumps.
Yeah, solar recycling facilities are very few, but they are not solar, they are doubly. They'll talk them more to, because solar industry is not old enough for doubly investors to look at this as a business model. We have foreseen this before then. So we are like in even in Sri Lanka, there's a major recycler. They talk to them to extend their W facility to let us open a small department there. So, but the world over, there are about 6,000.
More than 6,000.
6,000 solar manufacturers, major ones.
Yeah.
And the recyclers are, in terms of a double facility, is only about less than 100.
Yeah.
So that shows is a snapshot. There's quite a knowledge behind that shot here. There's a field in the blockchain called tokenomics. It comes from economics, token economics, how eco-minded investors sell and buy and sell, and they have their own exchanges like the Colombo exchange, but it's the virtual exchanges. They come and look at coins. Elon Musk formed this coin. What is it?
Dogecoin.
Yeah, so Dogecoin, and ours is SFC. We fetch a much lower value, but ours is an eco token. So there are various exchanges called PancakeSwap, Bank exchange. These are just like our physical exchanges, but they are embedded in the networks and they are registered. So that's the ones people buy and sell from. NFT is again, these are the tools for this trade. Okay, so partnerships, later things are being formed, and currently the crypto turnover in the world, the virtual cash, is about 4% of the financial flows in the world, if I'm right. And even some banks, even I was told by Rajneesh, our host here, the government of India is now considering their own India-based virtual currency soon. So although they have banned making, say, mines and all the crypto mines, government of India has its own mission to create its own virtual currency, which is a good thing. It's important. The virtual currencies might be important. I'm learning this. Is the lack of work or the avoidance of bank-to-bank transaction costs. So I get $100 from a relation from England, I end up getting only 89. But the banks knock the Sri Lankan banks are pretty notorious for that. But banks have to, because they have staff, so it's not unfair, it's all right, but that's how the system goes. This is how some banks have started making, I hear, I think Standard Chartered also made a
Movement, sir.
recommended people base point. There are all these benefits are written down. Basically, what we can do is if somebody has an operating asset, renewable energy asset, and that European law is slowly approaching the world over, then people cannot. Now, I spoke to some solar industries here. They say, panel is getting old. We'll think about that time. That was the attitude. Even in India, in Karnataka, I spoke to a benevolent organization promoting industry. They could not see, but I have some other Indian friends Sri Lankan who see otherwise. And now I'm trying. This is also a crusade of education to people to promote a good turnover-based transaction. I have to talk a lot, convince. So what we do is we espouse the benefits of this recycling program. It's not so much about crypto. Crypto is the take-off mode, but what we do is a sheer logic of the recycling problem. It is coming with 70,000 solar panels being installed per hour. So recycling companies also will have new business for solar assets owners, and we can actually pay from our investors who are people like investors. What we have currently in the SFC blockchain, we have young Americans who are driving sports cars coming and buying $1,000, $2,000 worth of tokens, but they like to hear that they are dealing with a group that is doing something for the betterment of the future. They have seen the Amazon wildfires, Australia fires, so we have that type of token. So these platforms are comprising of such eco-minded young and medium-age investors. So there are a few logic things I put in. I don't want to go through all this stuff. But I just want to part with saying that we have our own standards also. The EPA, Environment Protection Agency, has standards. IEEE standards US and WEEE EU Union. We have borrowed those standards of public, so we use that to guide our solar asset owners, solar manufacturers, cable users. We are also making there's a pioneering announcement today, Amit. We are announcing, we are now, so far, before I came here, the last 4 months, we have been calling Australian asset companies, solar assets, have you got how many megawatts can I tie up and all that hard way. Now we are now announcing through the blockchain, anybody who has an operating solar asset, wind asset, can enter our SFC blockchain and have access to the investment and your pledge, and they'll have to pay the salvage value over 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, they pay yearly, and the final they will come and remove the whole thing and take it to recycling. So they are, if the law closes on them in that region, which is happening even in India, they have the peace of mind we are covered by this law. So I think that's it. So this is our team. This is Imran Ali from UK. He's the founder of Save Planet. Lalit Gunrathan and my other peers here. Dr. Stratos, who was a nuclear engineer who studied in Boston. He's one of our Greeks, Mediterranean side. Then we have Dr. Nisa Khan from New South Wales. And we have the Japan-based chairman of Sakura. So that's it. That's my presentation. And if you have any questions, ask me. Thank you.
ladies and gentlemen, if you would have any questions to Dr., we're more than happy to welcome them. This is one of the latest technologies for wafer recycling, and I think one of the most important topics which will be part of the future. With this, we come to the end of day 2. Dr., please have a seat. And we would like to thank you on behalf of Informa Markets for being part of our programs, our initiatives. Thank you so much. I would also like to thank all of you over here.